Micro B has some serious competition now, RC drivers. Hobby Plus, a brand known for some really cool small scale crawlers, has just introduced the Spec-B, a 1/24 scale, ready to run off-road buggy. And looking at some of its features, this is definitely a buggy you're gonna wanna check out. There it is out of the box, RC drivers. This thing is looking pretty cool, but first up, let me show you what else comes inside the box. So you get the Hobby Plus radio system, 2.4 gig, and the little dip switches up top control your speed controller settings. They give you a USB charger. They also give you an additional spur gear and pinion gear. So if you want to alter the gear ratio, you can do that. A box wrench, and inside the car is a 350 milliamp LiPo battery. And now we can check out the Spec-B. And the first thing I want to go over is it is not a copy of the Micro B. It is a class competitor to the Micro B. They're going to compete against each other. They're going to look like a buggy. That's what a class is. It's not a copy. If you say it's a copy, you don't know what you're looking at here. This is actually designed very different from the Micro B and really worth checking out. Starting off with the body, love the cab forward look of this one. They've got this little fin in the back, keeps everything really aerodynamic, like the style of the wing. You can see the wing mount is different than the Micro B. It's got this extra support back there. A lot of other things different about this one, but actually like the, was it 80s style graphics almost. I think they have a couple different other colors. Don't quote me on that. Definitely have a link down in the video description below so you could check it out, check out other details, and buy it if you want to through my affiliate link. But let's get the body off of this. It just, Velcro secures down in the back and just slides in the front. Lightweight body there. And I'm gonna have the Micro B just so we can do some comparison stuff. Got your classic buggy layout on it. It's got an aluminum chassis down below, nice composite skid bumper in the front, and you can see this little slotted section back here. This is actually the battery stop plate, so you can move this back and adjust the weight bias of the battery pack. Up top here, you'll see the front's braced pretty well. Down to the chassis side guards. The servo is mounted flat. That's to help get the CG lower. Then they got this flat plate up top here that you just go mount your transponder to if you're racing these little things. And look at that, an extra port on the receiver so you can plug in that transponder. Really like the battery mounting setup in this one. So it's got these two little tabs on the side of the ESC receiver tray here, and you just slide these out and it unlocks the top plate here, and I gotta get them all the way back and it should just pop right up. There we go. And check that out, access to the battery pack. Nice and easy. The wires are nicely laid out. And this is the 350 milliamp battery pack. I did check the Spectrum packs, if you got some Micro B packs, will fit right in here. And again, just that rear stop. So pretty cool as far as the chassis setup. Nice and strong, little mini bumper on the back. So moving on to the suspension. This actually has a little bit more travel than the Micro B does. It's about 2 millimeters or so. And as you can see, they mount the shocks on the back of the shock tower. This shock tower is really thick. Even the bulkhead looks nice and strong too. And then you can see the style of the links, the way they mount is also different. They've got these little washer risers in here so you could adjust your roll. They are fixed links, and then the caster blocks and steering knuckles look pretty stout too. Again, different design than the Losi model. Oil-filled coilover shocks with threaded collars on them. That's really awesome. The shocks feel really good. And actually, they've got the right oil in here. There's definitely some pack to this. And then you can see nice long travel rear shocks. That rear shock tower, nice and thick, a little bit thicker than the Losi one as well. So they probably had one of these when they were designing this one, said, all right, let's step things up a little bit as we're laying this thing out. And yeah, everything looks good, including the arms. So the arms, these look pretty solid. Nice webbing in the center. The rears look pretty thick as well, and definitely like that they have extra material over where the pin is just to keep everything solid. Rear hubs look pretty stout. Double shear on the upper link, and I even like the pivot balls on this car. So you could use a 1.5 millimeter hex driver to remove those if you need to. Moving on to the driveline now. This has a sealed gear differential in it. That's pretty awesome. So you could go tune the differential with oil. It has these HD steel out drives and dog bones, and then they have ball bearings throughout the drive line. Metal motor plate on here, and it has an 050 motor, but you could also use another motor, which I think was the 1629 size. Nice looking transmission case. It looks like it's a low setup because you got the bottom of the gearbox coming through the chassis here, so you drop the transmission down. And then we might as well get into the electronics. So they've got a plastic gear servo up front, just says H3 on it. It does have a servo saver there. Then for the ESC receiver combo, they have this Fly Sky unit. Again, standard plugs on this, which is absolutely awesome. Extra plug for a transponder. It's got your standard connectors in the side. Nice small unit, 2S compatible. The 05 motor in here is actually a 63 turns, so that's less turns than the Micro B. And then, oh, wheels and tires. Doug, right? It's kind of got these bar-like tires on it, probably really good for like a clay track, although I'm gonna go run it on some Mini Z tiles, so we'll see how that goes. The wheel hex is the same as the Micro B, so if you already have some tires, or tires are easy accessible right out of the gate, you don't have to worry about any alternate hexes or anything like that. But tires look pretty good. We'll have to see how they work. Let's head out to the track now and have some fun. All right, drivers, I'm back at Galley Mods in Baldwin Place, New York, and I've been to the track a bunch of times. It's been a while, and I'm excited to see that they put in a Mini Z track here. And it's also going to be perfect for the Spec-B. I heard that they've been running the Losi Micro Bs here. And check this out, guys. This thing's pretty quick. So you're going to notice I've got some yellow wheels on the back, and that's because I had to go switch out the tires. These are upgrade RC's tires, and the factory tires would just spin out in the corners. So if you plan on running on this surface, definitely check out the upgrade tires. I'll have a link in the video description below. Look at this, guys. Really easy to drive. A little bit of wander in the steering. A little push in the corners, but man, we're getting around pretty quick. Actually, some of these corners are pretty tight. Love this bank. That's pretty awesome. But look at this thing go. So they were running Proline jumps on here, but they kind of kicked the, oop, a little crash. Kind of kicked the buggies up in an odd way. This kind of takes away from the fun. So yeah, we're just road coursing this thing. Full throttle around these corners. That bank really throws me off. And actually, that little doink in the corner just caused a problem. What's up with that? So one little doink in the corner popped off the steering link to the steering rack, and that came off a little too easy, actually. Back in action, it was actually a process to get that ball connector back on. I had to go remove the ball stud, snap it onto the link, screw it back in, and now we're back in business. But that link is actually on a pretty severe angle. I think that's why it popped off. I think it needs a spacer under the ball stud on the Ackerman link there, and I think that might fix it. But right now, I'm just getting some laps in. I found where he was hiding the Proline jumps, so I set a few up on the track here. See how this thing does. Oh, definitely doinks it. Guess I'm gonna have to try blipping the throttle over these. There we go, that flattens it out. Much better. Actually, the thing lands pretty good too. Just can't hit it at full throttle. And it's the style of jump. Nice. The thing handles really well off of those. So yeah, nice smooth transition jump. I bet this would be pretty awesome. That's better. A little more action in there, a little more off-road, less road course. On the Proline step-up jump, let's see how that works on the next lap around. Just a little let off right before the jump. Nice. That one gets you a little squirrely. A little step up. Nice and easy. This thing's ripping, guys. I've hit the turns a few more times now, and it hasn't popped off that ball connector, so maybe it just wasn't tight enough to begin with. Oh, and it flipped it over. I'd say it's a pretty successful first outing. Just a little change of tires, got it hooked up on the track, but let's head back to the workshop and wrap up this video. I think Hobby Plus came out of the gate swinging on this one, and it might edge out over the Micro B for some of you with some of its features. The longer travel shocks, the sealed gear differential, the motor plate that allows you to use aftermarket motors. It's a really good design. It handled really well on the track. little bit of understeer once I threw on those upgrade RC rear tires. Those are necessary to really get it around the track. But I think it's a great overall package. Pretty quick for its size. So there's just two little things I want to talk to you about, and one of them was the steering link. It did pop off on me once when I hit the corner, and it didn't happen again. The only thing that did happen was once I put it back together, I over-tightened the ball stud, and that binds up the steering, and that'll make the car wander. So definitely check that the ball stud and screw that are in that link there aren't too tight if your car is kind of wandering. The other thing was the wheels. Don't tighten these down too much because it will bind up the bearings, and this will cause the car to kind of pull one direction or the other, you know, again, if those wheels are too tight. If you're racing micro buggies, it's definitely consideration for something to pick up, or if you just want a fast, fun buggy at a really good price, I think they nailed it there too. I'll have links for it in the video description below.